So, John.
Yeah?
How many retention marketers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I'm not sure how many.
None. It's automated.
Nice.
Welcome to the Lion's Share podcast for marketing leaders by marketing leaders. Brought to you by Fidelitas Development.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Lion's Share Marketing Podcast, now available in video. We took months preparing this very sophisticated video launch for you, which is basically a glorified Zoom window. We did not take months preparing it, but we've been busy. And that's why there hasn't been a podcast episode in the last 3 months, in addition to hiring a couple new rock stars at Fidelitas. We've brought out some fun accounts. And then John, our In the News segment today is all around the fact that we went out and acquired a basketball team.
News team, assemble!
Yeah, really exciting.
Not an AAU team or a kids team. We went out and acquired a pro team at Fidelitas. That we now own the San Diego Sharks in the TBL, which is exciting, John. In a little bit, we'll get to our interview with David Magley, who is the chairman of the TBL. But first, we'll talk a little bit more about why we acquired a team and what that looks like. So, John, to kick off, obviously, as you know, and some of our listeners know, I've got a background in basketball and have been around many leagues, both good and bad in the past. And I've seen teams with strong fan bases and teams that were absolute train wrecks. So I think I've told you the story about playing in a 7,000 seat arena with 50 people in it the night before Thanksgiving, and then having a very long, cold drive back from Michigan to Illinois back in the day. So
that's crazy.
Yes. So we've seen, I swear that road trip was always the worst. I swear we'd always get sent up there the night. It was like, we'd go up there like the day before Thanksgiving and then like December 23rd. Those would be our games up there. So it was always just like the worst time. They never had any fans those nights. It was just miserable. So anyway, so we've seen good, bad, and ugly over the years, or I have at least. And this opportunity came up and we jumped in and took advantage of it. And that's one thing that's been great with the creative team is you guys were able to put a fantastic brand together, and we've really leaned in on the fan experience.
Yeah, it's been a really fun project for us. You know, it's not often where you get asked to, make a team logo and build a website and design jerseys. And for me, the coolest thing is to see stuff that we've created on our computer run across the court all day. It's really cool getting to see everything come to life. The response to everything that we've made has been huge. So it's been really exciting for us.
Yeah, Joe, I can't brag on the creative team enough. And sorry if this sounds like a humble brag to start for Fidelitas, but it kind of is. But multiple people in the league have talked about how we have some of the best looking uniforms and team logo and such. And really, that's the fun thing. Like, we got to build this from scratch. We didn't buy an existing team. We bought an expansion team and completely made it our own. And really, even down to the team name, like, this was built with fans in mind. Because you think about our core audience are kids that just want to be, they want to have a great experience. They want to be entertained, and they want to see exceptional athletes, and they want to be entertained, but in a way that's accessible, in a way that, going to say an NBA or an NHL game is not, right? Like, you don't get to go on the ice or on the court after the game and give your favorite player a high five and get your picture taken, right? That just doesn't happen at that level. And it does at the TBL's level, which is fantastic and something that we're excited to be a part of. And we've had a lot of independent third parties compliment us on the branding and the look and feel. And honestly, that's why we named the team the Sharks, John, was because kids like sharks. And That's why the colors are the colors, because, the red and the bluish green, like, one, it's indicative of San Diego, but two, those are kids' favorite colors, and they like those and they like to wear them. And if they like to wear those colors, we sell merch, and it becomes a better business model in the long run. I mean, heck, I didn't even tell you this yet, John, but we had a game on Saturday night, and one of the opposing players wanted us to hook him up with a pair of our shorts. And he was dead serious.
That's awesome.
Yes. So everyone likes what we've done and what we're building there. And that's the nice thing too, because again, it can kind of show off the creative team's muscles at Fidelitas, and we can flex in a way for ourselves that we don't always get to with clients, because clients have specific needs and timelines and expectations. And, a lot of times they have certain components in-house versus needing to outsource everything. But with this, like with the Sharks, Fidelitas is the engine for it, period. Like we're handling the PR, we're handling the creative, we're handling the paid ads, the organic social. And so it's kind of fun for us to be able to show off the full marketing engine in effect, from here's what it looks like to get the newspaper to cover us and give a crap about what we're building, all the way to here's what paid ads look like, here's what creative looks like, here's what motion graphics look like, to our retention efforts, the whole 9 yards from start to finish.
Yeah. And even taking it a step further, it's been a really cool exercise in like kind of our UX capabilities, because we really get a chance to design the fan experience at the game. And it's been really cool, seeing us get really creative ways to, involve the fans and involve like the kids and all the halftime things that we do. And it's been cool seeing, our kind of strategy mindset. We like build everything towards that goal of providing the best fan experience possible. And I think you go to a lot of games where it's all kind of about that game, where I think this feels more like an all-inclusive like experience. And so I think that's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And to let our listeners in on some of the tricks that we've used on our side, and we're having a lot of success with this. We're out drawing the other California teams in our division on a 4-to-1 ratio. So including a team that's been around significantly longer than us. Part of the opportunity that came from this, we acquired the team 3 weeks before the season. So we had to sprint with all of this, but even down to, putting together what we call, and again, Jay Baer coined the term talk triggers, right? Or like, what's that talk worthy thing that makes people talk about you, spread word of mouth, want to come back and make it a memorable experience. And so we actually have free tickets and free popcorn at every game. And so the revenue on the business side is driven from sponsors and community partners and merchandise sales, which is great. But right now we're very much focused on building a fan base and making sure that at a time where gas is $5 to $6 a gallon in Southern California, like your family can come out and have a great time for free. Like you don't have to spend a dime if you don't want to. Like you can come out, you can dance with the mascot on the court, you can go high five players and get pictures and autographs and have a great time, and even leave with a poster if you want. And you don't have to take $1 out of your wallet. Like you don't have to do any of that. And your kid gets a snack with fresh popcorn on site from one of our promotional partners. And we just try to create this phenomenal experience for the fans. And if we do that, we'll win with the fan base, and we'll create brand loyalty and loyalty to the team. And we can build off that in the long run. And that's our biggest thing, is building something sustainable. And again, building in public, like we're trying to do, it's not all roses and it's not a cakewalk by any means. I mean, we've had so many venue issues. John, we laugh. We had a venue cancel on us because the high school we were going to use that didn't have clean. And number one, we couldn't even get into arena. We were like fifth option to get into the sports arena here in San Diego. So that wasn't even possible unless we wanted to play our games at like 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. So we had to go. We started looking at high schools and colleges were like, hey, you can rent our gym, but you can't have any fans. And that's like, well, what's the point of that? Yeah. And that because of COVID concerns. And then the high schools, some of them were very non-responsive. We had some communication issues with them. And the one we booked, we paid for it, John. And then they said, hey, actually, we have to cancel on you because we don't have personnel to clean the venue afterwards. And we said, no problem. We have a partner in the community that owns a cleaning company. They'll be more than happy to provide staff. And they said, well, actually, that won't work either because there's this thing called the janitors union and they're not going to let you in. And
Yep.
Yeah. So we've encountered so many challenges and last minute things. I remember I think at one point we were like 10 days out from the first game and we didn't have the venue solidified because of all the challenges that we were dealing with here between COVID and just bureaucracy and unreturned phone calls. And like some of the logistics side was really tough to deal with. And credit to Mr. Magley, who's coming on the podcast, doing an interview in a minute, but the league was great partners with us and helping us work through that. But this is not easy. Like this is not for the faint of heart. And it's been a lot of time and effort out of our team, but I love how our team has stepped up from soup to nuts and really in timelines that we would never promise to a client, delivered phenomenal work that's performed well. And the proofs in the attendance numbers that we have, paid or unpaid, it doesn't matter. The fact is we've got people voting with their time and gas money and showing up. Right. And so we're pleased with the start, and that's one thing we'll give updates on the podcast from time to time. We're going to continue to build in public and we've built our social audiences from scratch and our email list from scratch. And if you want to check out what we're doing and follow along, even just from a marketing standpoint, you can find the @_San Diego Sharks on Instagram and on all the other social channels as well. And you can go to sharksbasketball.com and see a little bit more about what we're building and why. And of course, we'll drop those links in the show notes as well. But it's been fun. And so we apologize for the 3 months delay in podcast episodes, but we're back now. We'll be on a regular cadence again and bringing you guys more great marketing content and dad jokes. We always have dad jokes. We've got so many saved up for you over the last couple months for sure. And now with video, right? So we're gonna have all of these hosted on YouTube as well. So if you'd prefer to watch, if you just prefer, you need a little bit extra handsome in your life and you want to look at John and I's faces while we talk shop, come on over, check us out on YouTube. But we appreciate you. Thanks for being a loyal subscriber. Thanks for downloading the podcast and sticking with us. And frankly, our download numbers, when we went on pause and didn't put out new episodes for a while, the fact that y'all are still downloading and listening to the content on a regular basis and finding value in what we're producing means a lot. So thank you for sticking with us. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening along and hopefully laughing along or pretending to laugh along at the dad jokes like John does. And we'll have more great content coming for you. But for now, let's get to our interview with Mr. Magley. All right, everybody. I am excited to be joined by David Magley, the chairman of the TBL, which is one of the top minor league basketball organizations around in the United States. And one is, as you know from listening to the intro to this podcast, we just announced Fidelitas has acquired a team in. So it's pertinent to continue the conversation here. And we've got a lot of fun stuff to get into. But David, to start, fill our listeners in. What is the TBL?
Well, TBL stands for the Basketball League. We would argue we're not minor because if we were in any other country, we would be considered Pro B. All of our players get paid. We play in great venues. Again, in Southern California, because of COVID, it's hard to get gyms this year. So we've accepted some other venues. But across the country, we tend to be in 2,000 plus seat venues. And all of our guys wear the same brand uniform, playing the same number of games home and away, great stat programs. And then the consequences are it's a really professional look. Our core vision is to leverage, treat our young men with respect and financial literacy classes for them. And 160 to 190 guys that signed to go overseas last year. 12 played in the G League, 2 are currently in the NBA. 1 scored 26 this past week for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we're providing a great showcase league for them. And in exchange, we want them to be a community asset. We want something that not only is entertaining to watch and fun of games, but you can look at our guys and go, they can go to our schools. They can go to our boys and girls clubs. They can be role models. They can encourage a young person whose parents are going through a tough divorce or they're going through some struggles with dyslexia or depression. Because chances are all of our guys face something. And they can go in and encourage somebody and use their celebrity to be impacting, and in exchange, now we become a community asset that we have real value to what we do.
Yep, absolutely. And, it's interesting, David, you and I included, many of our listeners could probably name at least one pro team in their neck of the woods in any sport that doesn't make it or lasts for a year. It's a flash in the pan and then they're gone. Talk to me a little bit about what makes TBL teams sustainable.
What makes this unique is it's a model that's built on a conservative cost structure so that it's not terribly expensive to run a team, but it's also built on this exposure so we get great talent. So our players come in excited. They don't require a lot of the things that some of the guys in the league above us, the NBA, would be. That's a different world these days. I mean, when I played in the NBA, no player had the power that some of these guys have today to basically run the team and tell them what's what. That's not how we roll. We roll that most of our guys are very unselfish. The level of play is fun. I'm a Kansas Jayhawk, and I'm so proud that we won a national championship. That's the first college game I watched all year. And it's hard for me to transition from watching our level of play to theirs. Does that mean all of our players are better than the guys that are on Carolina and Kansas? No, but it is a different level. It's a 24-second shot clock. The game is faster. We have to shoot more threes, even though it's a further three out, because that's pro game. A lot fewer in between shots, a lot more playing all over the court. So it really is an interesting brand to watch. Very great athletes, a lot of great dunkers. So it's been fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I can say, for the listeners that don't know my background, I've played basketball beyond the college level for the last 13 years. Fortunately, running Fidelitas enables me to do that. And I've seen the good, bad, and ugly, right? So I've been on teams with great community presidents and won championships, and I've been on train wrecks. And it's interesting too, because David, the TBL right now has 40 plus franchises in very different markets, from San Diego, where our team is based, to Enid, Oklahoma, to Connecticut, to Tampa, to Shreveport, all over the country. And you can't treat those the same, right? It's not like a quick service restaurant like a Subway or something where you just roll out and you have the same grilled chicken and roast beef at every restaurant and the same recipe works everywhere.
I often use the term, Jimmy John's. There's a lot of Jimmy John's restaurants, but they're all in different buildings. And the brand is consistent, but you don't know if you're walking into a strip shopping center or an old retrofitted motel that you got a Jimmy John's in. We don't know where we're going to be sometimes with the venue, with the players, but the branding is very consistent. We all have, we build websites for every team. We design logos for the teams. We provide the same brand uniforms that are all sublimated. The same live streaming format goes out. So we have some consistency, but the uniqueness is the flavor of the players. What do they look like? Wow, athletic, style of play. And the show is very much different. You've got a amazing shark for a mascot. Another team in Indiana, the Lebanon Leprechauns, have a 4'9" guy running around in a leprechaun outfit, while a Scottish band plays, the Irish jig, because most people don't realize that Scottish and Irish isn't the same thing in the Midwest. So we just get excited. If you put a green skirt on these guys, they're great. So they think they're playing Irish music. Well, it's actually Scottish, but it's a lot of fun. They've got great dancers. And the thing I keep trying to preach to all of our team market owners, which we call you all team market owners because you own the market. You don't own the kid. The player is free to go where he wants to go outside the country. He can't go within teams. But what makes it unique is it's a business that happens to be basketball. It is not a basketball business. A basketball business is AAU. We're going to put some nice uniforms on these kids. They're going to go out and play some games. We hope we get some sponsors. It's another lower level than ours. It says we might play in a rec center. We'll make up the game. Thursday, we'll decide we're going to play Friday. And anybody that's related to the kids will come out and watch for $5. That's a basketball business. Our business is we're going to let everybody in for free this year because of COVID. We're going to have free food for them. So we're going to have a shark for a mascot, great music. We're going to let the kids run around the court and play with the shark. And we're going to have a lot of fun and have a great experience. Oh, by the way, we're going to find sponsors that want to be see the demographics that we can create by building that. And the first few games, we're going to have 100. And by the middle of the season, 400 or 500. And by the end of the season, we might have over 1,000. And we'll call ourselves the San Diego Sharks. That's a business that happens to do basketball, if you understand the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All too well, as you just laid out a couple core pieces of the marketing recipe that our agency has put together for the Sharks specifically. I'm curious, across the board, David, what's working for you and your teams as you guys continue to grow fan bases? I know you mentioned some of the stuff that we're doing specifically out here with the mascot, with, to fill listeners in, again, we've got free admission and free popcorn and really just trying to lean in on the fan experience. But what's working across the board for your teams as they grow their fan bases?
I think one of the unique places is Salem, Oregon. You've got an old armory that is zoned where they can sell alcohol. So they're able to take the stage and turn it into a nightclub. So they can have a pub crawl where you can go to 4 different pubs downtown Salem, and the 5th ticket is on the stage after you buy your ticket to get in to watch the game, which is obviously a very adult-driven thing. But then at the end of at halftime, there's going to be a pajama day where you get half off for everybody wearing pajamas. And their owner is 7 foot tall. He has a man bun. He has tattoos up his neck and gauges in his ear. And he looks like whatever you think people in Salem look like. And they love him. In his onesie, baby blue onesie, he's got everybody out in a Congo line at halftime with about 400 people doing the Congo. And when you watch that, you go, wow, what a great experience. They're having fun on the court. Kids are having fun. Great merch, great food, great beverage. Oh, by the way, they got a nightclub on the stage. That's really unique. You walk into Kokomo, Indiana, and there's the beat of a drum line, a 13, 14 person drum line that's rocking. Boom, 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 boom. A great DJ, amazing dancers, a hype girl that's out there interviewing people, having games. There's every dead ball, there's something going on that court. They have a very unique environment because they've got 12 courtside suites, 6 under each basket. So local entrepreneurs or people that have businesses, they buy a suite. Their name and logos on the sign above the suite. They got a table. They've got 8 seats. They got somebody that's working, a waitress, waiter that's working the table and providing them all food and beverages for free. So, they're at a high school that seats 7,000 people with jumbotrons. So it's always something going on. I mean, these are the things. Then you go to Jamestown, New York, who's a straight nonprofit. The core business name is #IntegrityFirst. They're called the Jamestown Jackals, and they have 1,000 people every game. They don't have more because they can't have more seats. That's the only reason why they're not bigger. Fans that come out, they have Faith and Family Day, where it'll be a lot of churches will empty out and get there early. There's a day where they'll have a dance or cheerleader day. Their cheerleaders are probably kids that aren't necessarily making the cheerleading squads in their schools, but they get a chance to keep their dreams alive. They're on a college campus. So they've got, interns doing their live streaming and their broadcasting. And it's a different vibe than the SoCal Moguls, your arch rival down there in San Diego, who's got a gold money gun out there that he's squirting out dollars and 50s and whatever, and people are scrambling for. I mean, it's all a different world, but as long as it entertains, it works, right? And that's what we have to recognize. People are not coming just to watch basketball. They're coming for the event. Oh, by the way, there's basketball. If we do it well, you don't even care who wins the game because you've had so much fun. You'd like it to be close. You'd like it to be a great game. If your team wins, that's even better. But if they don't, man, did you see that person do 8 flips in a row, or that dancer, break dance, or that mascot? He was so funny. I mean, all those things make what we do.
Yep, I agree completely. And again, that's what we continue to lean hard into that fan experience here with a lot of things you talk about. I'm still laughing about the leprechaun in Lebanon. I hadn't heard that story before, but that's great.
See what they got going. Like yesterday, he rides around on a tricycle, dragging behind him a wagon. And all the fans have rubber balls that they're trying to throw in the wagon. And if their number gets in the wagon and the ball, and they pull it out, they get a special prize. But 90% of the balls hit the leprechaun. You can tell most of the kids aren't even aiming for the wagon. And it's hilarious. They do a piñata of the opposing team's logo. And then they have the leprechaun come out and beat it up with a bat, and the crowd goes crazy. I mean, it's just a lot of fun things that they're doing. They've got a kiss cam. They've got to kiss the leprechaun, where they draw a leprechaun on a sheet of paper, spin people around, make sure the ladies have lipstick on. Then they got to listen to the leprechaun's voice so they can kiss the leprechaun on the lips, and you can see the lips. It's just fun things that are making for a great experience for the fans. You don't see fans rushing out at breaks to get concessions because they want to watch this like a Super Bowl. You don't want to miss a commercial. You don't want to miss the show. That's kind of how it needs to work.
Absolutely. David, at a macro level, what do you think is the biggest opportunity for the TBO and your teams as we sit here today?
I think there's been a major gap in community for a relatively local team to live in a community, compete in a community, be visible in a community, and entertain. If we can do this well, what you'll see us grow to probably 64 teams in the U.S., maybe eventually 20 in Canada, and we'll be a North American league that will really impact community, which again, from a business standpoint, someone that understands marketing as well as you, will allow us to say, hey, how would you like to see 2 million fans in person, 2 million fans on live stream, and get your message across locally? We can go to multi-level marketing companies and say, sell your lotions, potions, and vitamins at our place because we'll let you set up kiosks. You can't do that in an NBA game. We'll give you access to our players before and after the game. If we do it well, our players don't go to the locker room, they go to the stands. They're getting hugs, kissing babies, and shaking hands, signing autographs, and letting the fan experience be where they get engaged with these guys. So with that, we think there's a day coming where there's a real marketable opportunity to say, gosh, not that I don't want to be in the NBA, but if I've got to give the NBA $100 million as Gatorade, is it worth $1 million to Powerade to support our league? Is it worth, what is if somebody gives a Buick a big deal to the NBA for $100 million, will you give each of our owners something to drive and give us a little bit of money for our pockets so we can help them? We don't need those huge revenue dollars for our teams to break even. So we don't need to have it. But eventually, I think we can build a self-sustaining model that hasn't been built in minor pro sports for a long time. If it's not for the NBA, the G League doesn't exist as we know it today. Each team gets about $1 million from their NBA parent. If not, you don't make money because you cannot afford the salaries, the travel, the venues that they play in. The television isn't necessarily a moneymaker for them, but it's all for the right thing because the G League is a development league to the NBA for their branding, to get the right player, to help them win so that they can make $1 billion from TV revenue, and it works perfect for them. For us, we don't want to be that. We want to be active in the community, local, known, visible. When somebody comes up to us, we want guys that are excited when they get recognized in a mall. Not somebody goes, hey, I don't have time for you. Not that the NBA does that, but for us, we want to be that accessible.
Absolutely. It's funny you talk about greeting people before and after the games. You probably don't know this story, David, but we've had one rough home loss. That's it. All of our games have been close for the most part. We had one rough home loss, and the performance just wasn't there. And if I'm being candid, I felt like from top to bottom, the effort wasn't there. I told our guys, I said, before you go in the locker room, if you want to suit up next game, you're going to go apologize to one of these fans and tell them it'll be better next time. Otherwise, don't come back. And sure enough, that's what we did. We all went out and we said, hey, sorry, the result wasn't where we wanted to be today. Thanks for coming. We want to see you come back. Because again, at the end of the day, who else is doing that, right? And again, like you've got to build that relationship.
I was the general manager, head coach of a team in Canada. When I would get done shaking hands after the game was over, I would run, or in my case, wobble as fast as I could across the court to get to the exit before the fans would leave. Hey, thanks for coming. And they're like, weren't you just coaching? Yeah, but I'm also the general manager. I want you to know it means a lot that you come. You'll see when I come to one of your games that I don't sit in any one place very long. About 6 minutes. I want to budget myself to sit around 4 to 8 groups of people and give them access to who we are. I want to know what do you think with the game? What do you think? Like, I think the refs are terrible. Why do you say that? What does that mean? I love the mascot. What do you love about the mascot? I want them to know that I'm genuinely interested in their opinions because we've gotten some great ideas, but I also want them to see, man, I can be with the president of the league. My wife is the CEO. We're accessible. We want to be somebody that they go, yeah, that really is hashtag a different league. Because again, the NBA folks got to have bodyguards. They're worth, the commissioner of the NBA is worth more than our whole league by a multiple of probably 100. So we recognize what we are, and we just want to be that local presence that's very unique.
That's a great outlook, David. And recently, one of the other things that intrigued me, the TBL got involved with NFTs and decentralized ownership of one of the teams. Fill our listeners in a little bit on how that's working out.
Well, it's an interesting thing because we're the first pro league to do that, and it's basically an NFT is a collectible. It's a non-fungible token that you can collect on your phone. I'm sure most of your listeners know better than me because I'm an old man. But that decentralized autonomous organization is what allows an NFT to be used not as a stock, but similar with voting rights to help run a team. So we came up with the idea of why not run one of our teams that way. So our Atlanta team is converting over to 100% NFT owned and ran. So those fans that buy the NFTs, not only will that collectible hopefully grow in valuation, it will allow them to be part of the determiner of what the colors are going to be of the team, and what should the logo look like, where should we play, what's going on with the coach, and what's going on with our players, and really as if they because they do have to say they'll be ran by that. It's interesting. We were the first to do it. Now 3 days ago, I see that the Big Three, owned by Ice Cube, and I mean, a really nice marketing event. It's really not a league; it's an event because it goes from market to market and brings this kind of traveling road show. And I think they do a great job. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know if I want to watch some of these old guys play every day, but I sure like to watch them one time. Yep. I think it's fascinating that Cuttino Mobley can still play with a gray hair, gray beard at 50 or whatever he is, or that Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf is still shaking and baking and scoring on folks. So that's fun to watch. But they don't stay in one town, so they don't get. It's not like it's not exciting every time they go someplace. But they just converted a portion of their whole league to an NFT DAO structure. So I think we're on the front end. We've got a couple products that are going to be really cool. You didn't get to see because of the bad weather when we were doing the TMO meeting, but we had the first game ever on the metaverse, and that was a product called the Kingdom. You go into the Kingdom, you can walk around, you can shop, you can do all these things, and then you can go into the room. That's a private room for you and your friends. I think they have 12 people, and you can watch our game like it's on a big live screen. So you are an animated character. At the same time, we're playing as real live people. So it's like really cool. Then we have another product that's made by a company called Fabric, where you take your phone and you turn it on camera. We're going to experiment for the first time with it this coming weekend at the All-Star game. And when you turn the camera on, you'll hold it up and it becomes a Jumbotron. So there'll be the score up there. There'll be a place where they'll watch the highlight of the first half. And there'll be a scratch off. Who was the leading scorer of the first half? You'll scratch it off and Tyler Sickmeyer's picture will come up, 16 points, and for that, a prize will come up. Take this on your phone and get a free popcorn, which won't help you because they always get free anyways. But, they can do a smile cam where who's got the best smile? Great. You just won a free cleaning at our team dentist. There's all those things happen on your phone, and you can save it with QR codes and just stuff that, Tyler, when we started this league 5 years ago, it didn't even exist. So ways of generating revenue for this league are so big and so vast that we never thought it would be like this. Who knew? We thought it would be some national advertising, tickets, merch, food and beverage, and we'll live a great life. But man, there's all kind of other things where our data is important, where our images are vital important, where people want to engage. They don't want to just be passive fans that watch a movie. They want to be engaged fans that get to be participating. So our live streaming has a TBL store down the side. So if somebody goes, God, I love those uniforms, great. Go to TBL store, hit on it, get your favorite player, Tyler's number, buy it. Oh, by the way, when it's purchased, we're going to give a third of that to Tyler because that's his name, image, likeness. His name will be on the back. It'll be cool.
We'll drop a link for that in the podcast notes. If anyone wants a Sickmeyer number 5 jersey, we'll make that happen.
But if you get a Sickmeyer number 6, that goes to no one because it's related to that. But it is, we're looking at gaming eventually, where underneath that or on the side, it can be, what's the score of the third quarter going to be? You can bet $5. Again, not things that are going to make or break anybody, but make you more engaged with because it's about screen time. How long can we keep people engaged? If our average screen time is 6 to 8 minutes, it's hard to get advertisers because after the first quarter, nobody's interested. But if they go, man, they average an hour and a half, who wouldn't want to be a part of our live streaming? So there's all those things. We're looking at ways of improving the experience of pro sport.
That's great. And David, you just touched on my next question. Actually, I should have sent you these notes in advance, but it wouldn't have mattered. You're like transitioning perfectly, just like I drew it up. You talked about sports betting a little bit, and it's becoming legal in more and more states. And the demand there is certainly not lacking, right? And we see that everywhere it becomes legal. They're doing billions of dollars a quarter in that state. Do you see sports betting or even fantasy sports becoming a part of the TBL's business model down the line?
Absolutely. I mean, right now, we have multiple people that allow us to do a lot of things with them for free. A lot of our partners say, here, take our service, because they're mining our data. They need our imaging. And some of that are using gaming already, just not in the US. There's people that bet on our league in Monaco because there are people that they sit at a sports book all night long. And they go, what else is next? Oh, highlight. I don't know anything about it, but that team in blue is going to win. Boom. You know, they're just sitting there all night betting because they love the thrill of sports betting. You know, again, it's not mine to judge the morality of any of this. My call is to say what's right for our league. And if it's going to happen, how do we not participate in it? How do we make certain, you know, we could do sports betting in our league eventually? That'll be, again, limited amount, the $5 maximums, things that control bettors' risks, so that you can make a couple $100 on watching a TBL game, but you're not going to lose a few $1,000. You can, you know, things like that would be that kind of thing where we would try to build safe balls in that can generate money, have a lot of fun, great fan experience, but we're not hurting families' lives. And that's what, you know, because that's our edict. My wife, listen, this is a vision that God gave my wife. There's no question about it. We don't apologize for it. We are not afraid to say who we are. We don't proselytize. We don't make anyone believe like we believe. But we do want to show people a positive lifestyle that goes with two people that are loved, that serve the same being that's greater than we are. And we are driven to impact lives. And if we do it the right way, we're going to leave a mark on this society better than we got it. And that's really all we can do. The great secret to life, Tyler, none of us are getting out alive. So what do you do in this dash between birth and death? It seems that we're a lot closer than the average person because we're getting older. So now we're more motivated than ever. I'm 62 years old. I wake up at 5 or 5:30 every day. When I come see you, I will wake up at 2 or 2:30 because I always wake up on East Coast time. I will never let my body go to the West because I don't want to be droggy. I live that way. I go to sleep early, and that's what we'll do. But there's so much you get to do. I get so excited to wake up and work because there's so many lives to impact. We have 528 guys are playing pro basketball because of the vision that God gave us. How cool is that? I mean, we're building something that can live well beyond our years if we do it the right way.
I love that. And again, that's part of what drew us into this from the get-go is you guys' vision for where you're trying to take this. And obviously we're big fans of that as well. David, I want to be respectful of your time and our listeners' time here. So I got one more question for you. And this one we ask all of our guests, which is, if you had to leave our marketing leaders listening in with one key takeaway, what would that be? From my belief is that I'm going to tweak it just a little bit. I'm going to say marketing/sales leaders. Sure. Yep. From the marketing sales perspective, it's easier to listen somebody into a sale than talk them into it. That too many people don't understand that everyone will tell you exactly what it takes to do business with them if you'll just shut up and let them talk. Too many people come in with charts and pie charts and graphics and here's what we can do and they don't even know. They don't know the questions, so why are you bringing the answers? So my recommendation to marketing and salespeople is ask a lot more questions, do a lot more listening, and then come back and say, so if I can do boom, 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 then can we work together? And more than often it's going to work. But there is one piece of advice I want to give everyone that's on this call that sees this. If you get nothing else from me, I would encourage everyone to understand, learn how to define wealth. Don't let it define you. Okay. My definition of wealth is my relationship with my God, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my children and my grandchildren. I serve a risen Savior, so I'm a wealthy man. I got a smoking hot wife. Tyler, I sneak home to watch my wife take showers because people pay money at the club for that. I get to watch her for free, and we've been married 40 years. She's like, you're one sick puppy. Yeah, but you're still beautiful to me. She is the most beautiful woman, and she keeps me on. She is on me like white on rice, but she makes me a better person. My kids keep me relevant. I know what a drip is. If somebody goes, man, I dig your drip, I get it. I'm not looking for some spackling because somebody's going to give me dap. I understand what that means because I'm relevant, and my grandkids will keep me relevant the rest of my days. So
I may be the wealthiest man you've ever spoken to, and I'm sitting here sweating in my Chevy Equinox with 150,000 miles and a new crack on the windshield that just happened on my drive from Indianapolis to Kansas City. I don't have any money, but I got plenty of wealth. And the wealth I have is available to everyone that hears this. Have faith. I don't care what you believe in. Make it real. Make it real and let whoever, whatever you believe in, come alive in your life. Be faithful to your spouse. Treat them like they're the most important thing in the world, and they will return the favor to you. Honor your children. You are accountable for their joy. You're accountable for their happiness. If you don't accept that accountability, then you're missing the point as a father. And if you do those other three things, the grandkids will sit at your feet and treat you like you're the king of the household that you hope to be. So if there's nothing else, I would encourage your people that watch this to recognize that's the greatest gift you can have, is knowing how to truly be wealthy.
Amen. Well said, David. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Be blessed, my friend.
All right. Thanks again to Dave Magley for coming on the podcast and talking all things pro sports and marketing and all of the fun opportunities and challenges that come with running a pro sports team. And thanks to our listeners for hanging out with us for another episode. We'll be back soon with another great guest. So stay tuned for that. And until then, cheers.
You've been listening to the Lion's Share Podcast, brought to you by Fidelitas Development, your marketing partner for better brand loyalty.